Dead Rails is more than just a game where you ride a train through a zombie apocalypse. If you look carefully, there's a ton of hidden lore throughout the maps. And so I explored the entire world of Dead Rails to uncover the true story of this Roblox game. And you'd be surprised, but a lot of it actually ties into real life human history. See, currently in Dead Rails, you can come across 4 different locations that drop lore as to what exactly happened in this world, and these are the answers I managed to find. So one of the towns you can visit is the town of Sterling. Now, this entire area is completely abandoned. There's like no zombies, no people, just full of cobwebs all around, but there's something secretive about this town. Because if you go behind the church, you'll notice that there's a giant sealed off cave area. Now, you can use dynamite and a torch to light up the area and open up the mines, but here you'll be met with a ton of skeletons. There are a few zombies on here, but most of them are actually skeletons. Keep that in mind, because I theorize that these skeletons were actually made long before the zombie outbreak. See, if you explore further into the cave, there's another hidden sealed off area where if you explode it, it reveals the strange mask. And with this mask, it has the ability to reanimate the dead. Now, this mask is actually based on real history. Like, this is a mask that dates back all the way from 900 to 400 BC, found in Mexico. This is another Jade Warrior mask. But now, could these masks actually reanimate the dead? No, but the importance of jade played a huge part in Mesoamerican tradition. They often associated jade with life and death, therefore possessing high religious and spiritual importance. Yet even the tablets are based on history. Yeah, they're based on the actual emerald tablets that dates back all the way to the 8th century, where it is believed to come from older Greek or Egyptian sources. Yeah, there's a sentence here that says, "Thus you will obtain the glory of the whole universe." Yeah, that's why in the game, if you find all 4 tablets and put them in this other cave area, you unlock this jade sword, which also has a chance of reanimating the dead. Again, these tablets, the jade mask, the jade sword all plays into the story of the zombie apocalypse. Because another location we could find in Dead Rails is the Tesla lab, a building that actually used to exist in New York. And if we go inside this building, again, you'll see it's completely empty. There's no scientists, there's no zombies, but there are a lot of secrets on here. So there's a couple of notes here. The first one is a telegraph from Washington, D.C., August 6, 1895. Tesla Labs, we are sending you funds for you to develop a bioweapon for military purposes. The goal is to mimic the effects of yellow fever. We need a prototype by this time next year. So they got Nikola Tesla, a real scientist back in the day, to try to create a military weapon that again mimics yellow fever, a horrifying sickness that has a lot of terrifying symptoms. And so Nikola Tesla gets to work. He heard the rumors of the town of Sterling, hearing that the dead were being reawakened. Remember those skeletons that weren't actually zombies? Yeah, he went to go investigate all that and discovered the jade mask. See, we know he went after the mask because in one of the boxes, you could actually see the mask symbol. Yet he believed with using the mask, he could create what the military wanted. And that he did. And we know this because there's another telegraph in the Tesla labs from Washington, D.C., January 2nd, 1896, a year later. Thank you for the swift development. We will order 100 barrels of your latest prototype, Agent 15. So yeah, this formula that Tesla created was now dubbed Agent 15. And the military requested 100 barrels of this prototype. And what did they do with those barrels? Well, there's another area we could find in Dead Rails called Fort Constitution. Now here, unfortunately, there are a ton of zombies, which foreshadows the dark truth of everything. See, one of the notes that we could find in the corner of the fort is another telegraph from Washington, D.C., February 6, 1898. Captain Prescott, expect shipment of metal barrels with label Agent 15 sometime today. You will hold them for 2 days before a carrier will pick them up to load them on the USS Maine. So yeah, they had assigned Captain Prescott with holding on to these barrels while a US ship was coming to pick them up, but then something happened. See, the USS Maine was an actual real ship that exploded in Cuba's Havana harbor. Yeah, this actually happened in real life. This occurred in the year 1898, February 15th, just a couple of days after they had issued Prescott to hold on to the barrels. Yeah, the ship would mysteriously explode, and this actually would spark the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. But in the world of Dead Rails, something different ends up happening. And we know this because the day after the explosion, on February 16th, there's another message from Washington, D.C. Captain Prescott, burn all prior telegraphs that contain Agent 15 and or USS Maine. Report when done. So yeah, it seems like the military were trying to hide all evidence of this Agent 15 project. It seemed like something was going on that we weren't aware of. And now unfortunately, Captain Prescott did not answer, because the next day, they send another telegraph. Captain Prescott, urgent. If you do not report to the chain of command, you and your company will be formally charged with desertion, cowardice, and defection to an enemy nation. Now, why was Prescott not responding? Well, it's because of the barrels that he was holding. Yeah, all that Agent 15 stuff, the chemicals that Tesla invented, would end up turning everybody in Fort Constitution into zombies. And yeah, even one of the zombies in the forts ends up being Captain Prescott himself, the wanted man in all the posters you see. It was already too late for him and his men. They were already poisoned by the Agent 15 source. And with Nikola Tesla realizing what he had done, he decided to place the mask back in the mines and seal it off. That's why when you go to find the mask in the caves, there's a whole bunch of wooden planks on there. They were trying to seal off the mask so nobody else would try to do anything with it, because there was this mask and all the tablets that you could find that started the whole zombie apocalypse. Yet turns out a lot of the town of Sterling went missing inside the caves. We know this because in the chapel, there's a note that says, "People of Sterling, I gathered you here today to urge you to move away from here. Too many men have been lost to the mines for there to be a sustainable future. After this meeting, the sheriff will declare all missing miners as deceased." And so many people in the town of Sterling ended up leaving, except for one person. See, on the house to the right, you can actually find a note of somebody writing to their loved one. It reads, "Dear, if you find your way back to this house, I took everything and have left for San Antonio. I hope to meet there. I can't wait anymore." So it seemed like there's this lady who was writing to her husband, who was one of the people missing inside the mines. Now, unfortunately, she didn't know what exactly happened to him, but she ended up leaving to San Antonio, an actual city in Texas. But now that's when everything ends up going wrong. See, it's pretty much implied that everybody in the town of Sterling ended up fleeing to San Antonio, because if you go to the lobby of the game in the daily news section, you get a headline from San Antonio, USA, June 21st, 1899. New illness spreading. A new form of influenza is spreading through the nation. Health officials reported over 1,000 new cases in Texas alone. If you experience a fever, please limit your exposure to others. The long-term effects are yet to be discovered. So yeah, with the combination of the mask and Nikola Tesla's work, it seemed like all the people in Sterling brought out the disease to San Antonio. And a day later, we get another newspaper report. Looting across nation. Dozens of towns in San Antonio have reported looting. Sources say that the looting is caused by the recent news that the new virus causes violent and unexplained mental effects. If you or someone you know show symptoms, you are advised to limit exposure. 3 days later, we get a martial law ordered. It has been 4 days since the zombie plague started spreading through the nation. Due to the mysterious violent effects of the virus, President McKinley has ordered martial law to regain control. To aid efforts, visit your local recruiting station. That's where the game hires you and other townspeople to go around and clear out the zombies. But then a few days later, on June 5th, 1899, it's revealed that a cure has been found. Government officials announced today that Mexican scientists have successfully developed a treatment for the zombie plague. Authorities are urging all survivors to seek refuge in the capital, where the cure will be distributed. This breakthrough is expected to bring new hope to communities still grappling with the crisis. So yeah, then your goal is to hop on a train and set out to Mexico. Except it's not over yet, because what ended up happening to Nikola Tesla? Well, there's another note I didn't read. See, on Tesla's desk, between his books, is another note. To whoever finds this note, my name is Nikola Tesla. My workers and I were exposed to a bioweapon. I will have a total encephaloectomy performed in order to stop the effects from spreading to my brain. Take me to the top scientist to rebuild me. And yeah, when you approach his desk, you end up finding this monstrosity. It's a brain in a jar with the eyeballs always looking at you wherever you go. Yes, this is Nikola Tesla's brain. He is very much alive. And so unfortunately, there's no top scientist around, so it's up to you to rebuild him by grabbing all these werewolf parts that are scattered all around the lab. You can literally just rebuild him on this lab table, put all the pieces together, turn on the power to start the machine, and then this will awaken Nikola Tesla. Now, this does take a while and it ends up awakening a ton of scientists, but upon clearing all that up, you'll see that Nikola Tesla is now gone. but what's left is a weapon and then footprints on the floor, suggesting that he is now alive and ran away. But where is he exactly? Well, you can come across him on the final fort. See, in the final part of the game, the last fort is actually taken over by bandits, and it's up to you to lower down the bridge and escape out of the town. Fun fact, that flag right there, that's actually a reference to Blackbeard's flag. It's a devil skeleton piercing a heart while toasting the devil. Yes, by the way, Blackbeard was a real person. But after fighting some of the bandits, eventually comes in NIKOLA TESLA in his new werewolf form body, and he is straight up after you. I mean, I guess he's upset because he is now in this ugly werewolf form, so he is straight up angry at you and becomes the final boss of this game, which makes him a very difficult enemy to defeat, but not entirely impossible. I imagine there's gonna be more enemies, more lore to be found inside this game. I mean, it's barely an alpha, so there's more to come out. So yeah, if you want to hear more lore, be sure to subscribe. Goodbye.